I literally woke up at 4 a.m. with this realization: Werewolf by Night is the best thing in the MCU Phase 4. So I turned on Disney Plus to watch another episode of Andor, when I see an advertisement for some Marvel werewolf thing. I'd never heard of this before, but I decided it must be more interesting than Andor, so I gave it a watch. And was it good? Well, I can tell you that it's at least better than anything else to come out of Phase 4 so far. Let me explain. Werewolf by Night is an hour-long film directed by Michael Giacchino and written by Heather Quinn and Peter Cameron, and was based off of the comics, which first came out in 1972. So the basic story is a bunch of monster hunters enter a maze to slay a beast and become the next great monster hunter guy. The main character we follow is a timid monster hunter named Jack. In traditional Disney fashion, we have a second main character, a woman named Elsa. She's the daughter of the former great monster hunter dude. Now, I won't spoil how this resolves, but I do want to point out some of the reasons this film is good. Reason 1, I care about the main character Jack. The idea of a timid monster hunter who supposedly is more skilled than all the rest is a good base for a main character. A shy fellow being a skilled killer subtly defies expectations and gets you thinking. Naturally, you ask, how can this be? Also, it makes us care for him in a way that we don't care about the others. He's got this human side to him that we can all relate to. That spark of humanity which makes him stand out from the other eager, bloodthirsty monster hunters.
We could die here. You and I with your family is an option. It's not my choice, but it's an option. 2. Show, don't tell. Actually, don't talk at all. The lack of over-explaining in this is so refreshing. Marvel has this bad habit recently of explaining a character's backstory instead of just letting us figure it out. Take Elsa, for example. She's the daughter of the former best monster hunter guy, but she left a long time ago. If this was any other Marvel product, I bet they would throw in a line of dialogue about how she left the monster hunters because of her sense of righteousness, or because she's so much better than all of these people. But we don't need that explanation to understand her motive in the story. She left, and that's all we need to know, so that's all it told us.
And it can have only one keeper. It was to be his daughter's, but through decades of absence, Elsa has long forsaken that birthright.
Number 3, cinematography. It's some good soup. The shots, the music, the acting, all great. The entire thing up until the very end is in black and white and sticks pretty well to the traditional black and white style. Alright, we've established that this is a good movie on its own, but how does that make it the best in the MCU Phase 4? Well, everyone has their favorite show or movie in Phase 4. Let me try to debunk why I think some of the most popular ones in this phase aren't as good as they seem. Number 1, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Everyone says this one is pretty good, but why? It wasn't terribly offensive like some of the other Marvel products, but that doesn't make it good by default. Shang-Chi had an interesting premise, but fumbled the ball by having annoying side characters and a senseless redemption story at the very end. Comparatively, Werewolf by Night doesn't have Awkwafina. Werewolf by Night doesn't have any annoying side characters, like the fake Mandarin and that chicken thing. I don't know, it got kind of ridiculous at the end. 2. Loki, WandaVision, and any of the other shows. This little film told a more cohesive story than any of these shows did. Personally, I think the only Marvel show in Phase 4 that properly used its runtime was What If, but that's a different rant. Werewolf by Night stayed focused on telling this new story rather than praying that we'll like a show just because it's got familiar characters. And number 3, you're not ready for this one. Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm not saying this is a bad movie. I'm saying that Werewolf by Night is technically better. Exhibit A. No Way Home doesn't really have an original plot. The story was done better years before by Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Exhibit B. It had too many characters and too much going on for me to care about Peter and his struggle. Oh, am I supposed to care that Peter doesn't get into college? Oh look, it's Daredevil. Oh look, it's Doctor Strange. I'm just so distracted by everything else in the movie that I don't really connect with the main character or his struggles. Exhibit C. I didn't care for the ending. Whatever motivation I had to see more of this version of Peter Parker was destroyed by the way this film ended. It took steps backwards rather than forwards in his journey. Maybe that's what they wanted so they could, put things back on a smaller scale, but I really didn't care for it. Exhibit D. If you're nothing without the nostalgia, then you shouldn't be a movie at all. These are the main flaws in Spider-Man No Way Home. It relied so heavy on your love for past characters that when it reused a plot from Into the Spider-Verse, people really didn't care. Werewolf by Night, it tells its own story, and even had me questioning if it was part of the MCU canon. That's how little reference it has to the rest of the universe. To wrap up my rant of Phase 4, Let me say that this film gave me some hope for Marvel. I don't know how they did it, but a decent and cohesive story with good characters that don't over-explain everything actually came through in this phase. So go ahead and tell me how you think I'm wrong in the comments, and I'll be making more videos soon.